Hi, Pete here, and I'm really pleased to be with Adam Larking from CS1 Design, a fantastic web-based business. And I'll tell you what, they're based near Sittingbourne, but we've come here and it's like in the middle of nowhere, isn't it, Adam? It's lucky we have the GPS, but we come here to talk about your business. It's really nice to
good to see you.
have this opportunity. And we've had a quick look around your business, which is fantastic. There's quite a few staff there. But tell us about your business. How are you going to be here?
Yeah, so the company's been going for 30 years now. We're in our 30th year.
You don't look old enough, Adam.
No, I've been here for 17. So it's my 17th year here. And my parents started it up. I originally worked abroad. I did my background in photography and videography, so I worked in the Caribbean and South America for 2 years.
Wow.
And then I came back in 2000, and in 2001 we kind of realised that there was the start of the digital age, so no one locally was doing websites. We had a background in design anyway. We had a lot of corporate identity and graphic design clients. So yeah, I kind of self-taught web design from pretty much 2000. We were one of the first agencies in Kent to start getting websites out.
Wow.
And we realised that was a real area for growth for the business. And as a small team, we could really focus on just changing the direction of the company. And then, it went from strength to strength. We got a really good team now. And 3 years ago, I bought the company outright, and so we're just really going from strength to strength.
So tell us about the current business and how many staff you've got here.
Yeah, so there's 8 of us in-house.
Yep.
We specialise in all aspects of design, so we really do offer a full design service. So it'll be from your logo design, your corporate identity, full branding, so we do a lot of promotional merchandise, to things like signage. We do vehicle livery. We offer graphic design, so from business cards to brochures, flyers. We do direct mail. So we do hundreds of thousands of pounds worth of print every year. And then all that transfers onto the web and digital. So we do lots of, I'd say 90% of the work we do is bespoke, all content managed websites. Built to the very latest standards. We also partners, we're Google partners, Shopify partners. We work with WordPress, Magento, so any kind of platform we can build in. As well as the website, we then do all the digital marketing, so we need to get the websites up promoted. So we do Google AdWords, social media marketing, Google Shopping. We've just got all our over the last 12 months, our partnership has grown with Google, so we're now Google Ads, mobile and shopping. That's fantastic. A really big growth area for us.
So tell me, you're based near Sittingbourne here in Kent, in the UK, but actually you've got an international business, haven't you?
Yeah, very much so.
Tell us about that.
So a few years ago we were thinking about location, because if we needed to grow, we've got a large client base anyway. We work with hundreds of clients each year, and we really do focus on client retention. But we were thinking, do we need to move into a big town? Do we move into the city? But a big part of the business is the location and the feel it's got. But we actually work with companies in the Falkland Islands, in the Hebrides, France. We work with companies in LA, Dubai, Abu Dhabi. Even we worked with a company in Iraq. So it really is a global business.
So how tell us, how have you been able to go from Sittingbourne here to be global like you are?
Yeah, so a lot of strategic partnerships. So we work with software companies, and we're their recommended web provider. So we work with the Car Hire Hebrides and the Falkland Fishery and things like that, and it's all through software companies that we're their recommended web partner. Other routes are that we've worked with marketing managers, marketing directors at many companies. They've then moved on to new jobs, and because of the service we've offered them, they take us with them. So pretty much all of our work is either client retention or word of mouth. We get lots of recommendations every month.
Isn't that the best way to go to build your business?
Yeah, absolutely. Because I think obviously a recommendation, it speaks for itself, but also the client retention is so important. If we're offering a good service, that clients don't think they need to go look around every year for price comparison or service. So we really are focusing on that, and with such a wide client base, from people like Dynarod and British Gas to one-man band plumbers and builders, we're working with the same clients. For some of our clients we've worked with for nearly 17 years.
That's amazing.
So,
that's a testament to just the good work you're doing, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
So, in that case, tell me, what's the biggest achievement, or what's your biggest success story that you'd like to tell us?
There's quite a lot of like small achievements. I think personally, one recently we were nominated by a client for the Swell Business Awards. We got the letter through, so that was flattering in itself. We had the judges come down, and actually we won Small Business of the Year, and it was completely unexpected. We hadn't prepared for it or anything, but just a small award like that was quite show how we're progressing as a company, showing that we're looking in the right areas. We do focus a lot on like youth employment as well, so we're a talent match partner. Gold member actually, bronze member, but we're constantly looking at ways of helping like young people into work. So yeah, that was a nice personal achievement, and also that was the first year of like the transition of the company to my ownership as well. So that was a really nice achievement.
Cool. So Adam, I've got to ask this, and there's lots of web designers out there, but what makes you different from your competitors?
So I think the full service design, where we can offer the logo design right through to your brochures, your stationery, then the website, and even apps. What I would say is we're an in-house team. We don't outsource to India and Eastern Europe. We would like to get that way we can control all the work.
So it's all stayed in-house here?
Yeah, all in-house.
Wow, okay.
That way we can control all the work that comes out of the studio. Also, that we offer a very personal approach. So you're always speaking to the people doing the work. We don't have like a sales rep on the road that will take a brief, pass it on to a designer, then it goes through. You actually speak to the people doing the work. That way you get a personal service, but also the best result that we're proud of, you're proud of. Which I think, I think that sets us apart.
It's interesting you say that, because when you and I first met, it was at golf, wasn't it? And I've got to admit that when I came up and chatted with you immediately, you were just a really nice, down-to-earth guy, and I thought, man, I like this guy, I wonder what he does. So, of course, we had a bit of a chat on what the business was, and hence the reason why we're chatting today even more on video, because we can actually find out a little bit more about just what you're doing. So, kudos to you.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, thank yourself. You're the one that did it, not me. And the other frustrating thing is your golf game is better than mine as well.
Yeah, it's getting there. It can still improve.
Hey, so love that about just the biggest wins and what's going really well. But like any business, there's we have challenges, don't we? And sometimes those challenges can really rock your socks. So what have been the challenges in your business for the last 17 years, and how have you overcome them?
So there's always challenges. I'd say with our location, the growth. So we're a grade 2 listed building, 200-year-old building. So we can't just slap extensions on. But it was that compromise: do we move? Do we stay? Things like the broadband lines coming in, we had to get specialist broadband lines for the best service possible. So all those kind of costs. And what we've done is we've had to find kind of out of the blue solutions. We've put in a meeting room that we can expand onto. We have got plans for over the next kind of 2 years for maybe satellite offices within Swale that can be used as developer hubs. So they're still within the local area, so we've got complete control. But that we've got certain plans. So I'd say growth's certainly one challenge. recruitment. I think every business owner will say the same thing.
Yes.
There's so many good people out there, but there's also a lot of not so good people out there. It's how you filter it. I'm not a massive fan of recruitment agencies. We've always kind of done our recruitment where people have kind of known us over the years. I get dozens of CVs sent through each month.
So how do you filter that? You're quite right, there's some really good people out there and there's some really awful people out there. How do you filter it so you're getting the best people in your team, Adam?
Obviously, skill set is key, but when you're in a small team, and we like to think of ourselves as like a family business as well, they've got to fit into the team as a person, and that's where the interview process and stuff, which we're constantly trying to evolve and improve. But what I would say is once we get the person in, we've got a fantastic staff retention rate. So like a lot of the staff have been there. So Sittingbourne have been there for over 10 years now.
Wow.
The guys, we don't have like a big turnover of staff, which in our industry is quite rare.
Yeah.
There is a lot of job hopping but yeah, there's there are a lot of good people out there, and we also have kind of embraced the apprenticeship route. So we fully fund all our staff's training to do level 6 apprenticeships and going on training courses, and we're off to Brighton for Brighton SEO, which is probably the biggest event in the UK in April. So 3 of us are going there. So yeah, I think recruitment is tricky, but we've found that with good recommendations, again from people that have worked at other agencies, know our names, so they'll contact us, or through like an apprenticeship route.
Fantastic. So in actual fact, we can talk about the biggest wins that you're having here. There's just a couple of the challenges. It's a great challenge to have for expansion that you want to do those extra satellite offices. Yeah,
because a lot of businesses, obviously, getting the work in is a challenge.
Yeah.
Say from about 10 years ago, there's so many agencies set up around Kent now, and they're setting up all the time. What we realised was actually there's industries that need design and web solutions. They've got software, but they need a partner. So we work with a lot of estate agents, a lot of vehicle hire, even to restaurants. So we've worked out partnerships with other companies to grow the business without us having to go knocking on doors, which has been probably our main success, really.
Brilliant. So Adam, I've got to ask you this. You've been a business owner for 17 years now.
Well, yeah, about 5. I've worked here for 17. I took it on. Yeah.
So then you bought the business. Yeah. So how have you evolved into being a business owner? Tell us that, and how was it difficult or was it pretty easy? What's your journey on there?
I think because I had a good understanding of the industry when I took the business on, I think that made it a lot easier. I've seen across a lot of our clients as well that they maybe think, well, I suddenly want to start up a marketing agency because it looks like a fun job and so on. And if you don't go in with the experience of project management, of core design, of a good design eye, even a base technical knowledge on web, I think it would be a real struggle. So having that kind of foundation has helped progress to the ownership. I also think there's so many good resources out there now, like people like yourself doing your workshops and book clubs. There's some fantastic books and like audio books to listen to on trips to meetings and stuff like that anyone starting up their business, I would say focus on a plan first and then implement the business into that plan.
What a good tip.
But yeah, I'd say over the last 4 years, the different books and advice I got from people like yourself on a golf course and stuff like that has helped no end, really. I was always sceptical about business networking. Hadn't had great experiences with things like BNI in the past. Just from our point of I think our industry, I think people, everyone's a bit of a designer and a web designer and stuff like that. But through things like the For business, that's been fantastic. Not just the business we've got, but the business we've referred. But it's the people you meet, and you can say, "Well, I've got a problem with this." Somebody's gone through it. So I think it's very easy to get stuck working in the business and just get in a bubble. Or you need to get out and talk to people that have done it.
So as a personally, what might have been the biggest challenge that you've overcome in getting this business to where it is today?
There's been lots of little challenges. I'd say getting the infrastructure in the company right, so that now I can go out and work on the business. I was too involved in doing the day-to-day design, every single client meeting. Handing over responsibility. It feels like it's my baby, and then suddenly I've got to introduce clients to a member of staff that they take over that client.
And what they do it as well as you.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm constantly looking over the shoulder. So I was just saying that I'm at the moment I'm in the downstairs office. I'm moving upstairs. I think that's for the sanity of the staff, but also it's for me to switch off and work on the business rather than getting involved in the day to day and putting my 2 pennies in for everything. So I'd say that the biggest challenge that I've got is definitely kind of separating myself out from the day-to-day work, and more working on the growth of the business.
Great. Well, it seems you're doing a really good job, because the staff, when we were looking at, they were down and doing what they need to do, and you were just, if I can say, swanning around, but actually being the business owner, which is really good to see. All right, so that's how what you're doing well. What would be the biggest single challenge, maybe?
I think, as I say, we're quite fortunate, and certainly in our current position, that we're not going knocking on doors begging for work, and we're not having to price pitch that would put the company at jeopardy because we're undercutting people. We don't have to do that. We can do a job at the right price. I'd say just that continual growth, really. Just making sure that the work is always at the highest standard possible. Also, the technology is constantly evolving, so it's keeping the staff trained and evolving to whatever new comes out.
What about the biggest win for you personally?
Obviously, being able to employ more and more staff each year is nice, and building a team around us. So we've got a few awards under our belts, which is also nice.
So there's a Swale Business Award.
Yeah.
What else? What awards?
There was a few small design awards. We've also entered into things like the Kiba Awards. Just other local business awards, really. We're also FSB members. We've entered into those awards. That's something, again, 2 years ago we wouldn't have even contemplated until we got this nomination. And actually, the brand recognition we got from that was really surprisingly good. So we thought, actually, we'll put more focus each year into entering these awards.
Is that a tip you'd give to other business owners?
Absolutely, yeah. Any local business, I'd say, enter into the Swale Business Awards. It gets your name out there, but also what it made us do is step back and look back on the questions that they ask. It makes you look into your business and think, actually, we're doing something right here. And then, obviously, if you get into the finalists and eventually win, it's a real pat on the back that you think, well, yeah, we've actually done something okay here. So, yeah, I'd absolutely highly recommend just entering this. A lot of these are completely free. I know the Swale one definitely is. So, yeah, I'd highly recommend that.
And lastly, what's any other news that you want to share with us at this stage?
We've just recently got upgraded to a Google Shopping Partner, which was nice. We're a Talent Matchmark Bronze Award partner at the moment. We're certainly in line to renew that, and we might even get elevated to silver. We also get involved in a lot of community. I think local community is vital for any small local business. So we sponsor Batchild Cricket Club, Robinson Village School. We work with Tenham Village School as well. So Yeah, local community stuff coming into
Fabulous.
the summer. We'll be donating a lot of things like sports equipment. We update websites, promotional items, summer fete flyers and things like that. We always help.
So you're actually giving back to the community.
Yeah, very much so. Yeah.
Fabulous. Hey Adam, this has been just really fascinating, and look, thank you so much for your time. Really enjoyed talking with Adam from CS1 Design. As you can see, not just another website designer, but people that actually walk the talk, where they're actually going out and helping in the community, as well as running a really good business. And Adam, I just want to say thanks very much, because it's been fantastic, and I've actually learned a lot as to why you're so good, and I understand why you actually have so many people coming back to you all the time. Wonderful.
Great stuff.
Thanks for.
Thank you very much.